Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new episode of the Right Info Podcast Show. Wishing everybody a happy Saturday and a pre-Halloween, because I know everybody's looking forward to seeing that new Halloween Ends movie that came out yesterday. I got to see it because I know it's going to be pretty good, with me being a big fan of Halloween. Today, I want to address the issue of racial inequities in consumer financing markets. Now, over the last couple of years, our country has faced many significant challenges, including COVID-19, the death of George Floyd, and other acts of violence and racism. Now, as a result, our nation has started a critical and long overdue conversation around race and inequity. I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but this is an issue that has to go on and a topic that has to be discussed. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has created economic and financial insecurity for millions of Americans. Communities of color have borne the impact both of terms and health and the resulting financial crisis. We had to bear the brunt, not just as African Americans or other minority groups, but all Americans as a whole. Now, for example, women and minority-owned small businesses have faded more into severe economic consequences. They had to suffer for more than their white counterparts, and Black and Hispanic homeowners were less likely to receive mortgage relief and forbearance. Now, across all racial and ethnic groups, including white Americans, economically vulnerable consumers face challenges in assessing the help they need now. The help that everybody needs, financial, political, idealistic, whatever comes up. And something like that has to be done. These inequities have been going on for a pretty long time, but they must discontinue. Why aren't they start in the first place? I really don't know. It's just so many questions to ask, so many issues, like top thoughts like, why did it happen? Why did these inequities happen? Who started the inequities? How do we keep them from happening again? Why is there such a big gap? I really don't know. That's something that has to be asked and answered. It probably goes back to all the way to the old times, the old days, during the days of Jim Crow and segregation and inequality toward African Americans and minorities. But not only did it do that as far as personal lives, it affected economic lives, consumer lives, wanting to own people wanting to own his or her own business, but couldn't get it because they couldn't get the funding. The banks rejected them. They couldn't get the loans no matter what, no matter how hard they tried. And even if they did get it, the gap was still long and wide, and nothing could have been done about that. Everybody had to fight tooth and nail to get the kind of money that they needed for their own businesses. Otherwise, getting the business would have been not worth it at all, for the simple fact that there were racial attitudes back then, and that still continue on today. So what has to be done? Well, everybody should just pitch in, do their own part. Let's do more advocating for more money, for more funding, for more businesses. And maybe, consumer products that everybody need, like clothes, anything. I can just think of clothes right now. Well, clothes for men and women, makeup for women, who knows, stuff that has to be used for every day. Now, there is a gap. And like I said earlier, where did the gap come from? It all starts back in the past, as far as the old days, inequality, racial segregation, bad economic downturn, stuff like that played into a big part. But how do we solve that problem? We can solve the problem, but first by adding more money into what we have to do. More funding, creating more jobs of employment, and bridging that gap so everybody can have a fair piece of the pie. Everybody deserves their piece of the pie, no matter how big or small it is. As long as everybody get a slice, that's what really matters. Now, how do we also keep stuff like this from happening again? How do we keep the inequity from happening again? First, we got to have a full conversation about, why did this happen? What can be done? And how do we keep them going on again? Like I said before, more money and more funding for the products. We can get better consumer results with the actions that I just spoke of. Without these actions, there's no sense of going out doing what has to be done in order to bridge the gap. Like, say, for example, a family of two, which are African American, try to apply for a loan for a house. 5 times out of 10, they're not going to get it. Maybe because of their race or their economic status, or maybe because whatever amount of money they're making at their job is not enough. Compared to a white family of just 1 or 4, and they get a loan, and 5 times out of 10, they'll get it because they'll be seen as looked at, oh, okay, you have your experience, you get, you can have the upkeep of the house or whatever, you can be able to pay the loan back. Now, anybody can pay a loan back, but it takes time, no matter who you are. Even myself, I've had loans to pay at times, but I paid them. It's about financial discipline. And what I mean by financial discipline is when you have money, you got to be able to know how to handle it. You don't have to buy the first thing you see. You don't have to get the first thing that's advertised. Because people of different races, religions, and orientations or whatever, we'll all make mistakes when it comes to handling money. It's how you handle it. It's what you're going to get with it, no matter what. If you make a mistake, make the mistake, correct it, and learn from your mistake. Like I always say, a mistake made is a lesson learned. You make a mistake, you learn from it, you make sure it doesn't happen again. And this also goes for inequities in consumership. Making mistakes in denying money and financial needs to those who are less fortunate, that's wrong. That is a mistake that can be corrected and is still being corrected today. So we have to just watch how we do things as far as our financial dealings is concerned, as far as how we handle money is concerned. Everybody's not going to have money, but if they do, they have to watch how they do it, be advised on how to handle it. And if it's handled right, it'll bridge that gap between the have and the have-nots. Those who got it and those who don't have it. Those who can obtain it and those who can't. Maybe, just maybe, if we can just put our heads together, pull our mental finances together, and see where it goes from there, we can bring an end to the inequities. We can bridge this gap no matter what. Everybody is struggling. There are times, yes, we are in hard times now. Not real hard times, but economic uncertainty and uncertainty that we will try to get through. And the last thing we need now is destroying our ideas, our thoughts, and keeping the gap from bridging as far as consumerism is concerned. So this is all I have to say on this podcast today. It's not much, but it's the ideas that I espouse as far as how do we solve the problem of bringing money together, pooling our money together, to bridge the gap. That's all we have to do. Just make it plain and simple, straight and plain, no matter what. And, this is a nice little podcast. I just want to make it short. I've done one the last couple of days. So just listen to this one and see what your thoughts and ideas are. Give your opinions, ask your question. I have my podcasts are on my website. Feel free to visit anytime. I wish everybody a happy Saturday. Enjoy Halloween ends because Halloween will be in a few more days or whatever. You all take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.